The contractor who wants to keep his costs down must be able to move his men and materials around quickly and efficiently. For time means money, in the building trade as in any other, and supply lines must be operated at minimum cost and without delays. In order to do this, he needs strong, reliable and adaptable vehicles. This is the transport depot of a big contractor just outside London. Over 1,000 vehicles of one make are operated from this centre. They are all Thames vehicles made by Ford of Dagenham. The man in charge of a big fleet like this is in a responsible position, ensuring that all the men and materials are transported to the right place at the right time. Operating Thames vehicles for virtually every job, he should be able to tell us a great deal about them.
Well, we've certainly had plenty of experience with Thames vehicles. We've operated a fleet of them for over 30 years, with 5 and 10 hundredweight vans and practically every model in the heavy range. As well as trucks and tippers, we use special bodies for all sorts of jobs. We use petrol and diesel, and including quite a number of 4Ds. You know, the Ford-made diesel. And I plan to use more of them in the future. But let me tell you how we operate. The driver gets his instructions and any necessary clearance papers at the start of the day's work. He'll check back at this office when he finishes at the end of the day. This particular driver is on a run between the depot here and the site of the new town at Basildon. This is a part of the site where clearing is almost finished, and work has begun on the civil engineering side, laying sewage pipes and water supplies. On this trip, the vehicle is delivering planks and shuttering for the trenches that will have to be dug. So far, 2,000 houses have been built at Basildon, and families are moving in at the rate of 20 a week. That means that the resident engineer in charge of this program relies on me to keep the supplies of building materials flowing without any hold-ups. Each house alone will need 3 lorry loads of timber like this. 10 miles north of Basildon, work goes on at the new Hanningfield Reservoir, where 1,000 acres of land are to be put under water. Surrounding this area, a wall of gravel and clay covered with concrete has been built up, nearly 5 miles in length. I've calculated the carting of the gravel alone has meant our lorries travelling a total of 7 million miles. Of course, as well as the reservoir itself, there is also quite a lot of building involved. We've been using 5-tonners to deliver the bricks needed for the pump houses and filtration plant. Work goes on throughout the year, and we need sturdy vehicles to see us through a job of this size, especially during the snow and mud of winter. I found that the 4D 3-ton vehicles are very adaptable in this type of work. This one has been working at Hanningfield for some time, and the shifting of these large pipe sections is one of the many jobs it deals with. Another contract which has kept a large number of our vehicles busy is the construction of the BOAC Headquarters building at London Airport. We used nearly 300,000 tons of concrete to complete this large block of hangars, the biggest of its type in the world. And now work on the foundations of another hangar has begun, and that means a constant use of tippers for clearing the excavations. Part of their journey is on good, smooth tarmac, but they also have to stand up to this sort of rough road. This Thames low loader is just leaving the yard with a bulldozer for the site at London Airport. Other vehicles are at work in the yard supplying our precast concrete unit. Tippers bring in sand and shingle, and bulk carriers bring in cement. Some of the mixed concrete is kept moving in these mobile agitators for transport to nearby jobs. But we also prefabricate concrete sections, 10,000 tons of them a year. Some of the larger ones require really tough vehicles to get them to their destinations. These 5-tonners are carrying 12-foot wide concrete 8 sections to be used in rebuilding a bridge. With today's traffic problems, we all find police escorts very helpful in getting any large load on its way. One great advantage in running Thames vehicles is that if a driver requires service on the road, he can get it from any Ford dealer. All these Ford service stations carry a wide range of spares, and labour charges are standardised, and they're all listed. These dealers will see that your vehicle is back on the road as quickly as possible. As you know, there are Ford dealers all over the country. The driver you've seen taking wood to the new town has now finished his day's work. Before parking his vehicle, he refuels at the pumps ready for the morning. Then the last job before going home is to check in at the traffic office, hand in his papers and sign off. He'll have filled in his log sheet with all the information we need: journey, details of load, mileage and the amount of fuel. From these sheets we obtain useful information which enables us to work out comparative fuel consumption. Here, for instance, is another vehicle working at Beckton Gasworks, carting coke, doing short journeys, and obviously with the engine idling most of the time. Naturally, its fuel consumption is different from the run from here to the new town, but our records show us that this 4D, doing under 300 miles per week, saves over £7 per week in fuel. Of course, running a large fleet makes it easier to work out comparisons and decide the best vehicle for each type of load and journey. The smaller operator might be forced to use one particular vehicle for all sorts of jobs, but I've come to the conclusion that for all operators, large or small, long journeys or short, that they'll find the fuel consumption of the 4D remarkably low and the engine very reliable. Oh, and by the way, if you have a transport problem and want to fit special bodies yourself, you'll find Fords are very helpful.
Look at some of the many bodies that have been built on the Thames chassis. A 3-stage tower wagon, for example, and a special vehicle for carrying a patient in an iron lung. It has a hydraulic lift for loading the lung into position without interrupting its operation. The number of Thames vehicles to be seen everywhere on the roads today, with the special bodies of well-known fleets, bear witness to the confidence of experienced operators in the Thames range. And the number of 4D badges show how popular the Ford diesel has become. behind each Thames vehicle are 50 years of experience, 50 years of engineering initiative and development. The Thames range, comprising the most reliable and economical commercial vehicles in the world, is made by Ford of Dagenham and backed everywhere by Ford Service.